actually we have something that we can now, it's going to be the most flavor, it's not quite overworked, but it's internal enough that we can use it for a dry heat. I think that's how the story went, and then out came the flat iron.
And that happens with hanging tenders as well, and flat meat and skirt meat, just people trying to find something else.
You know, skirt meat is used for mainly fajitas, right? That's a common thing, right? But the flat iron there, and then we would just cut it in half.
Yeah, that would be a portion.
To get 4 steaks, but generally, it's roasted whole. Like if you see it on a menu, it's roasted whole. They slice off of it, and then they do the portion off of that.
Yeah, and we do them in a 4 and a 6 and an 8 ounce steak already for some customers. So this one, like I'm going to take off this outside skin just because this piece here can be used. This piece here is another very, very tender piece of meat, and it's not hard to use that dry. But this one here too, I used to cut this and use this for souvlaki because it's still got some tenderness, a little bit of a tenderness to it. But I'm going to leave that muscle whole because that can be great stew.
Yeah.
Or you can tie that and be a really, really, really nice little pot roast. Beautiful little pot roast. Strings around that way, cut it. That would be a really, really good bonus one there.
Then in the market, what is it called?
In the market, this doesn't go into any type of food service. It doesn't go into market. It'll be blade meat. Sometimes you'll see in ethnic meat, it could be a blade meat piece, or it could be listed as a chuck tender. But most of it goes for stew and grind.
Why, if it's such nice meat and soft?
Because people don't know. Because if this piece, if they put it out, they may, it could go out. You could go into the chain store, and because this is part of the chuck, this could be part of. It could say boneless chuck roast or boneless blade roast, and that came above the blade bone. It was on top of that blade bone where that bone was.
Yeah.
So when you guys go into Safeway or Save-On and you see that chuck steak with the big bone on the top, those 2 little pieces in the top of that chuck steak are really good, so we take them out. But that could still be called a boneless blade roast.
If you went to butcher and you asked for them,
Boneless blade, this is what you should get. Or they may give you part of the chuck flap, which is right underneath here, which is still part of the blade, because the blade sits here. So this is the blade roast from here up.
This is 3/4 from
Up the top here, yes. So you know which bone this is on your book? You guys got the bone?
Yeah.
This is the blade bone. I think it's number 19 or something.
Yeah, 19.
1819 is this bone here. Okay, great for soup.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Maybe this good too. Yeah. And then now, chuck, there's a whole chuck. It has bones on it as well. Can you see these bones in your chuck now? You're up in here, right? You're up in this area here. Right underneath there. So that 3, 2, 1. These guys here. See the short bones here? These are the ones we're working on right now. Boneless blade. Boneless chuck I roll.
Yeah. That's my favorite part.
Oh,
right here.
right here. Yeah.
That's the continuation of what?
tenderloin.
No.
No, that's too far.
What butted into the shoulder chuck? You remember?
The rib. The rib, right? So that's the continuation of the prime rib.
And
But
it
it's
has
in
that
the-
round shape?
Yeah, but it's in the shoulder.
Yeah.
So it can still be used because of the continuation of muscles. It can still be used as dry heat.
A lot of meat in here.
Oh yes.
Look at that.
And that cut there is actually up and coming. As I've done reading on the internet, people are saying that is the best steak that they have.
Why? What's the
Because
type
it's
of
because
flavor and
because it's in the shoulder. Remember how the muscles work more flavor, and that is still tender enough to cook it as a regular steak on your barbecue.
The color of the meat looks a little darker.
Now, see what this is. What other thing? I'm glad you brought that up. See how it's dark here but red here?
Yeah.
What it's called oxymyoglobin. When the oxygen hits the meat, it blooms. It's called blooming. So when you get meat, like you go buy ground beef in the store and it's in a tube, if you cut it, it looks dark in the middle. It should turn nice and red. All meat should bloom. If meat doesn't bloom, it could be that it was defrosted or previously frozen, because it won't bloom the same. It's a little bit different, right, when it defrosts. So this will turn nice and red like this in a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But as it sits longer and we leave it, it turns back to black, to purple, to green, and it rots, right?
I have a question about, I remember once on the news there was a story about some kind of spray that they put on the meat so it has a nice red color. Is that related to this issue of just wanting that nice
No, that would be,
color?
no,
Or is it a preservative measure?
Years ago in the butcher shops, there used to be a papaya marinade that was in a spray bottle, and it would brighten meat up, but also tenderize it. Because papaya and pineapple will make a really good
I've
marinade.
got a recipe for that.
But it was some of those things where those things disappeared because we used to also put blood in ground beef years ago.
Just to give it a right
Give it more, and also
Tricks of the
it adds
trade.
weight too, right?
Yeah, right.
So you have to watch when you buy ground beef nowadays. We sell ground beef, like we'll sell this at ground, a ground chuck. 100% ground chuck is this piece right here. Put it through the grinder, we make 100% ground chuck. And that's where we get our chuck from. Some ground beef, you have to watch where you buy it. It could say lean ground beef made with beef burger, it may be in a plastic bag without any labeling on it. What you want in ground beef, you want to make sure it's pasteurized. Pasteurized means this whole animal's been washed and cleaned, so it doesn't have any fecal matter on it. And you got to have a run date. You want to know when it was run, when the freeze by date was, what day it was processed, so you know when to freeze your
Sorry,
ground
what
beef.
does run mean?
Run date would mean when they were putting this through a plant at Cargill when they're making the ground beef. It's called a run date, where they run through the machine. So you know what the aging is on it. And a lot of places will put heart in ground beef, because heart is a muscle, not an organ. So you have to watch. This is rendered down as good. This is the backstrap of the animal. This is spinal, like the spinal cord area of the animal. You can tow cars with this. It's rubber. You can't eat it. And it goes through the whole prime rib as well. It'll go through the rib section. It'll go right down through the strip loin to the back of the animal. And it's very rubbery if you want to touch it. That's the end of the ribeye, yes. Oh yeah.
Well, it should be because it's
It's supporting, that's keeping the animal moving.
Is inside this is on top of the spine.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
strong.
right?
down the middle of the back. Right in the neck area too, right?
I can
Blade
feel
roast,
this getting
Sean?
more there.
Just roast for these, or do you want that little end cut off there for you, and this one
Allow
end?
the little end cut off, and then,
How far do you want to go in? Want to just pop it up?
yeah, you should.
I can feel the fat's getting oilier now.
That's the heat coming out as it
Touching
sits.
it this morning.
And then the rest of it, let's just do stew, and then add some more farmers.
Okay.
It's the only way we can really get rid of it, yeah.
See the little end of the ribeye?
Oh, yeah.
That's the one
That's
you like.
nice.
That's the one I
That's
used to
that's
take.
called butcher's choice.
I used to take every meat in the butchery.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you see that piece there? Just take that out. And I make myself a nice little lunch.
Yeah, that's a nice little piece of meat. Beautiful piece. So you want to go stew off this, chef?
Pardon me?
Go stew? Take go the chuck flats off and
yeah,
then
take
go
the
stew?
flats off,
Okay.
put that to the side, and then hot roast stew. Okay, and then try.
There'll never be any machine that can do this kind of work. This is always going to be a man-made job.
Yeah, because machines can't,
No.
well, maybe someday somebody will invent something that will
I'd like to
be able to
see
follow
that.
the seams, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's kind of nice
Not
to
in
know
our
there are some
lifetime.
things that can be
Yeah.
mechanized.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. It's a,
So when we're extracting all this meat, remember I talked before, what do we generally try to get out of it first? The usage. What would we use? Like, what are we trying to get out of it first?